Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Grandstanders here on Thursday Night Live on The Big. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I am joined again by my esteemed panel, Russ Stevens on my left, Alan Camo on my right, and on my far right, Uncle Joe McLaughlin. Well, guys, we have some breaking news. That's why we go live. It's Thursday night. We're going to go to the breaking news on the Celtics with Russ. Russ, tell us what's happening.
Sure. Well, in case you haven't been listening or watching, the Celtics have indeed traded Rajon Rondo to the Dallas Mavericks for, I believe, a power forward center, Brandon Wright, guard, I believe his name is Jay Crowder, Jameer Nelson, who's a point guard, has been in the NBA for a while, who we assume that they'll probably cut or trade, a first-round pick in next year's draft, and a future second-rounder. So quite a haul. Quantity for quality.
Rondo is Gondo, boys. What do you think of the deal? Tell me, what do you think about it?
I think they were kind of forced into this position, right? I think they saw the writing on the wall, realized that he probably wasn't going to sign, or if they were going to sign him, they'd have to give him a max contract, and I just don't think they were. Danny Ainge was not down with that.
Yeah, I think this all started, like I mentioned before, I think this started on the Monday night game against the Wizards, where all of a sudden they're down, the starters are down, 20 points. Stevens replaces Rondo. They end up coming back. They go to double overtime. They lose the game, but Rondo never sees a sniff of the court again. And then that was basically saying, we can be competitive without Rondo. Sure. We don't need Rondo. Rondo's out of here, right? It could have been a personality.
That redoubled the intensity of the trade talks, for sure, because they've showed that Smart can lead the team just as well, if not better.
Yeah.
And
so the writing was on the wall when they drafted Marcus.
His value's going down as the season goes on. His value goes down. So the sooner you get rid of him, the better.
Right, and drafting Marcus Smart was the writing on the wall for Rondo.
They drafted his replacement.
Right.
They drafted his replacement with the first pick that they had last year.
And they were able to see that Marcus Smart could play the point.
Sure.
He was a capable NBA player, and now Rondo's gone. And that's an era, right? I mean, Rondo's been here.
It's the end of an era. It's the end of the Big Three. It's the official end of that era, right?
I think he came in, 2007?
Yeah, probably in the league 7 or 8 years, somewhere around there.
And now, so obviously we're thinking it's tanked, tank time, right?
They'll call it retooling. They'll come up with some word that begins with rebuild, retool,
because
reboot.
Jeff Green could be out the door next.
Yeah, I think all bets are off.
In a perfect world, yes, but I don't know who'll take him.
And then Brandon Bass, right?
Brandon Bass, Marcus Thornton,
and
Draws. Yeah, if they get rid of Wallace's contract.
How do Celtics fans, and obviously, Rondo is very popular with the younger set. I mean, that's when they think Celtics, they think Rondo. Yeah. How are they going to handle this PR marketing-wise?
I think they're going to have to look around for their next star. Look, Marcus Smart, I think, is their next star. He'll be on the cover of the media guide next year. They're going to put a lot of stock into him.
This year, though, they're going to take a hit. It's going to be an empty garden for the rest of the season.
Sure will.
But it's kind of ironic.
I mean, do you think that they're going to hold their own now? I mean, are they going to be a better team now, or is it still just way too much regrouping, rebuilding?
I think it's going to be very disruptive, but they've been losing at a pretty good pace already. So what are they going to lose? Right. Another game out of every 5? It doesn't matter if you're not going to be in the playoff hunt.
But that's the joke of it. They're only one game out of the 8th spot right now. I mean, and they're pretty much giving up the season and giving up really the next couple of years too, right?
Right. It's going to say.
I would assume so.
But Rondo's replacement's on the shelf right now.
Right, exactly. Yeah, well, because they want to lose. They're basically saying...
Well, he's got Achilles, and that's a pretty tricky one. That's usually a kind of a chronic condition until you get it healed completely, like with 3 or 4 months rest.
Now, there was an article in the Sunday Globe that suggested that Brad Stevens was interested in leaving the Celtics for a job with Indiana University. He's Butler, that's where he's from. That's where he coached. Butler is in Indiana. Now, who created that story? Was it Brad Stevens' agent? Because that's not a coincidence that they laid that story down on Sunday and it's Thursday and Rondo's out the door.
Well, where's the worst place to be as a coach in the NBA? The worst place to be as a coach in the NBA is caught in the middle. Is not good enough to compete for a title and not bad enough to be part of the rebuild. And if you're in that muddy middle as a coach, that's the worst place to be. You're not doing anything at that point in time.
The coach in the NBA has to be best buddies with his best player, not at odds with his best player.
Yeah.
So you've empowered Brad Stevens now. It's not Danny Ainge's team. It's not
They gave him a
Grossman's team.
6-year contract. They already empowered him.
It's Brad Stevens' team moving forward. He's the voice.
Yes,
He doesn't have to turn and say, what does Rondo have to say right now?
That's right.
That's it. Brad Stevens is the team. And I think you're going to see a different Brad Stevens. I think you're going to see a lot more confident Brad Stevens moving forward. I think you're going to see a guy who's going to implement everything he wants from a team moving forward. Whether, and you don't know. They could end up still getting a playoff spot because
It's been so bad down in the bottom half of the Eastern Conference that you're right. They could back into a playoff spot with
you can't lose
35
enough.
wins.
You
Right.
can't lose enough. You
Right.
go on a 3-game winning streak.
Philadelphia can out-lose you.
Yeah, the Brooklyn Nets, all the bottom-feeding teams are so bad that literally you go on a 3-game winning streak. That's it. You're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So they may end up getting an 8th spot, not even trying. Right.
Sure.
But it's sad because we're talking about the Celtics and there's a lot of energy right now, but that's pretty much it for the next couple of years, right?
Yeah, we may not talk about them the rest of the year at this point in time. Truly, I mean, what's there going to be to talk about?
Yeah, it's a real high right now. Rondo's gone.
Until maybe the draft. When the draft approaches,
Yeah, they'll have
be
3
relevant
first-round
again.
picks. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, we like some of the young players, right? I mean, we like Olynyk, we like
Smart.
Sullinger, we
We like
like
Smart.
Smart, right? I mean, those 3 are really who you're going to build a team on, right?
I would think so.
Yeah. So it's unbelievable. I just want to also mention their whole philosophy. I hope it changes because this whole taking threes all game, that's all
tough
they
to watch.
It's tough to watch, right?
It's tough to
Well,
watch
maybe
if you're a
this,
real basketball fan.
The kid from North Carolina they just got from Dallas, the big guy. Maybe give him some inside presence. That's
Sure.
the problem.
You know,
They-
he's shooting 75%. I think he's leading the league in field goal percentage. So
Yeah, but so is Tyler Zeller is up there, and I mean, he's just a big stiff also. Yeah, what's Tyler Zeller going to do without Rondo feeding them the ball,
I
right?
think he'll be okay.
I mean,
I think Tyler Zeller is still going to be okay.
You're not going to
He's
worry
got
about
a
our
job.
backup centers?
Yeah, he's not going more than 5 feet from the basket anyway.
Exactly.
Well, it's interesting, and we've spoken about Rondo for years, whether he would go, and now it happens, and you move forward with the organization, and obviously he's going to get a max contract, but he's not getting it with the
Yeah.
Celtics.
And his
Well,
legacy.
where does that leave the Mavericks now? Are they now maybe considered one of
I
the
think they're right
front-running
in.
teams?
If you think about Dirk, Rondo, you've got, I think Monte Ellis is their other guard. You've got Tyson Chandler and Chandler Parsons.
Yeah.
I mean, they put themselves into, that's a great question, Alan. They put themselves right into the top 3 in the West.
Not
if you
much
ask
in the
me.
way of depth, though. So an injury could really hurt that.
Yeah.
team.
some
Well, it's
age
very
on
similar to the way with the Patriots. I mean, with Tom Brady, they have a window with Nowitzki,
right. Yeah, they're
and then
trying
the
to jump
window's
through it.
closing, and they've never won. Well, they've won what? One.
One.
yeah.
So they've won one, and they want one more
Yeah.
with Nowitzki. And
Before
look, they got to go
Nowitzki
for it.
goes.
Yeah.
So it's a good move for
I
them.
think it's a great
Mark
move
Cuban's
for them.
always one to go all in.
And we look for all we talk about the pomp and circumstance of Rondo. It may have been the only dance partner that we had was the Mavericks. So he
Yeah.
may have jumped on this
Yeah.
quickly
Yeah.
because that was the only team
Well,
that
there's
was willing to take on.
It's become a point guard league. There are a lot of really good point guards in the NBA these days.
Awesome how
and
many really good.
really terrific scorers and game managers and everything. So I guess we say goodbye to the Celtics.
So that's it for the
until next
Celtics.
fall.
You want, on Thursday Night Live, we'll have the draft special on whatever night that
exactly,
is,
right.
and from Secaucus or something.
Right.
But otherwise, that's it for the Celtics. Now, another team that we don't talk about much, but we're going to discuss tonight, the Boston Bruins. The Boston Bruins, who are probably similar situation playoff-wise than the Celtics. They're sitting teetering in that bottom end, 8th, 9th
They've only
spot.
won 2 out of the last 10.
Yeah, so they could see themselves out of the playoffs, which, boys, out of the playoffs in the NHL is
Tough to do.
right. Right. You've got to work hard to be out of the
work hard,
playoffs in the NHL. And right now, I don't know. I mean, they could literally be out of the playoffs, and that's not what the Bruins faithful were thinking about when this season started.
No. Look, they've had some tough luck, some injuries. And my guess is I'd bet on them making the playoffs, whether anything happens or not. They got Krejci back. But it just goes to show you how quickly the window can close on a team. Once you start having to pay guys, once your depth you start to age, your depth starts to go, and all of a sudden you go from...
You need young hockey teams. You need talented
Absolutely.
youth on a hockey team. What's the average lifespan of a hockey player? 3 years, maybe?
Got to be 3 years,
3 years
right?
like that.
Yeah.
What do you think of Claude Julien coming out and saying this is an average team? Good or bad?
It's a very
What
Parcelsian thing to
motivates?
say,
What
right?
motivates?
Isn't that
But
what
he's-
Parcells said?
One of the problems, he refuses to play the younger guys. And now
Yeah.
I think it would behoove Shirelli and Cam to force him to play the younger guys, maybe make a trade to bring
Right.
in more youth, because that core
It's aging.
Yeah.
just gets worse and worse and worse as the time goes on.
You know, it's funny when he said average. I at this time of the year, particularly in football, I look at statistics like towards the end of baseball season, start to
Sure.
really look at statistics. And when Julian said, the Bruins are an average team, I looked up at the goals forged and goals, allowed, and
Right in the middle.
Even.
they were even.
Yeah.
They were.
It feels
they
like
were
it just
dead
watching
even.
him.
And that was
Yeah.
kind of weird, though. They gave him an extension, Julian, a month or two ago, kind of out of the blue. So Julian's here to stay. I think Chiarelli is the guy who could go, because there's going to be a fall guy if the Bruins especially don't make the playoffs or, end up being an 8th seed and go out the first round. Somebody's going to,
Well,
They
you
did
may-
what the Patriots always never do. They fell in love with their players, and they
It gave a lot of
tried to
exactly
re-sign
right.
every one of them.
And it may force, to your point, the pressure may force Chiarelli to make a deal. This rumor going around about Taylor Hall.
Yeah.
I think he could be fixing a trade of Lucic. I think you got to look at it because the
Luch
game.
is still living off winning the Cup 3 years.
You're
ago.
totally right.
Yeah, Lucic, he skates so slow you feel like he's pulling Santa's
No,
sleigh
I mean, if
when
you
he's-
really watch like the teams from last year, the year before, they were fast to the puck.
Yes.
They were quick to the pass. They weren't afraid to go into the offensive zone and what they say, muck it up in the boards and pull the puck out. And I'm like, the guy just skated past you. You just made a bad pass.
And the game is leaving. The game is drifting away from Lucic. The fisticuffs that was a
Yes,
third of his
yeah.
game
Yeah.
back 5 years ago doesn't exist in the NHL anymore. So now you say he's not a great scorer. He's not going to light anybody up with his fists anymore.
But, right, the top
He can't
two
catch up with anyone to check them.
the top 2 scorers in the NHL in the last 2 or 3 years are Phil Kessel and Tyler Seguin.
Yeah.
Tyler Seguin is leading the league in scoring goals right
Claude
now.
Julien does not like young players.
But that was a major mistake. When I'm talking about Chiarelli and could he go, Tyler Seguin, for who they got, Erickson and Smith, that was a very, very bad deal.
Well, I
And
think it had to do with how many. Tyler Seguin was leading the league in missed curfews.
I know.
for the Bruins. So I think that was one issue.
People grow up, too.
Yeah, right, absolutely.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Trade away every superstar when they misbehave? Come on, we're not going to have
Who
anyone.
wouldn't you trade on the Bruins? Who are the untouchables on the Bruins right now? I only have
Bergeron.
two. I have Bergeron and Hamilton are the only 2 guys on the Bruins I would not trade.
Oh,
Well,
come on. You talking
I like-
Tuukka,
I like
Rask,
Krug.
too?
I would trade him.
Yeah, I think.
Wow.
I
If
think
you think that
might
Malcolm
keep Krug.
Subban could be
I like
your goalie of the
Krug 'cause
future,
He plays all the special.
I like him. I just on the right deal,
He's a
I
little
would
too
trade
small,
everyone
yeah.
else.
Well, you trade Chara, and that's it. You're throwing up,
Yeah.
the flag for a long time because Chara is the man in that team.
Although how many years
Well,
left
he's
does
still
Chara
a
have?
factor,
trade
isn't
for
he?
him
Yeah, he's
'cause
still a
the-
factor.
The size of the contract and the age of the player, he's not going to bring you good value in return.
No,
I
but
think
Joe,
that's
for
right.
a team that Chara could put over the top for a Stanley Cup. I mean, they
Oh,
would,
yeah.
I mean, that's what you're going to
He
get.
would be the ultimate white flag. If you ever saw
Yeah.
them trade
Right.
Chara at the deadline, that would be Chiarelli saying we're in
That
rebuild
means
mode.
restructuring,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
And now the rumors. This is the rumor that I'm hearing. They're trying to acquire Taylor Hall. Now Taylor Hall was the first pick
Yes,
in the draft,
in front of Sagan.
in front of Sagan, and they've always liked Hall. And Hall's put up some good numbers for the Edmonton Oilers. So I'm hearing deals where Lucic, for sure, would be a piece to go, and whether they would have to give up Hamilton, Subban, or what would you give up
I believe
to get him?
Lucic would have to agree to it.
I think he's got
He
to
has
go
a
trade.
limited
Yeah.
movement.
I would give up Lucic and Subban. I mean,
And
that
Lucic,
you get to
yeah.
hang on to Rask at that point in time.
Yeah,
I think Rask is overwhelmed at times. I don't see the defense that was there.
Yeah,
like
it's not
like
the
he
same
had
team.
here.
Well, Rask has a no trade
Yeah.
He does
contract,
as
so
well.
he's not going
He's
anywhere.
no trade for
Krejci
the
has the
next
same
couple
one,
years.
so
Okay.
these guys aren't going anywhere. Lucic they want Lucic, which is fine. I think he's.
He's from the west coast of Canada.
He might
be
go.
going
He
out
might,
there.
yeah.
But I would
Okay.
give Lucic. Do you think Lucic is still has peaked as a player, or do you still think there's a
I just don't
upside
think
to
he's
him?
approved. 2-3 years ago, to your point, Allen, looked like he was going to be the next great power forward in the NHL, and he's fine, but he's not that guy. He's not Cam Neely.
Yeah.
Steve, what do you think? You think Marchand is just kind of disintegrating?
I think so.
Oh, I'd love to get rid of
mediocrity?
Marshall,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I don't think there's any market for him.
Another guy that's living off winning the cup 3 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. He's
Yeah.
still partying. Like
Yeah.
he just won the cup.
Party like it's
All right.
2011.
Right. So we covered both the Celtics and Bruins, and that's it for
We'll
the
be
year.
back now.
Yeah,
We'll be back on the
No, we'll be
Bruins.
back.
Can we,
Absolutely.
May, June.
Absolutely.
They could turn it around. They
Playoff
can.
hockey is like
Yeah. We'll get back in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
we'll
great.
get
Hey,
back
remember
in.
the Bruins once traded for who was it? Esposito,
Oh, it's a
Hodge,
great
and
trade.
Cash.
Charles
Yeah.
Vadnais.
Absolutely.
There's got to be some stupid teams out there willing to get
That's
rid of
right.
some talented players.
So let's go to the New England Patriots. They won last Sunday against the Dolphins. They were actually, game was 14-13 at halftime.
Yeah.
They did not look very good, but they actually scored 24 points in the third quarter, which was a record for the third quarter for the Patriots. This is kind of a crazy statistic. Your insight on the game?
Well, I'll tell you something. I was a little bit disturbed to see their deep secondary get burned a lot. A lot of the Miami receivers got past the secondary there. You think about it. If they had held on to the ball a couple more times, those receivers, could have been a much more white-knuckle game.
Yeah,
we were
they're
watching.
same since in the Detroit Lions game too, where they Lions wide receivers dropped some passes in the end zone, and had they done that, it could have changed the theme of the game.
That quarterback, Tannehill, he did a good job. When
I
he saw
agree.
Butler isolated out there, he went after him. And then when he saw Hightower isolated on the running back, again, good pass selection by the quarterback. I got to give it to him on that.
Some poor play calling by the Dolphins,
Does
which helped
anybody
us
else
out.
feel like the offense is in a little bit of a rut again? Last 2 or 3
It's the
games,
line.
just
Yeah,
the line
the,
and
the management before halftime,
Yeah.
Steve. I mean, they did a runoff to what right guard, another runoff right guard. Oh well, we got 60 seconds. We can hold them.
Yeah.
And then next, it's 14-13. Just horrible.
Yeah, what I took
management.
What
of
I took
that.
from that game was, first of all, getting Chandler Jones back is just so key to a Super Bowl run. He adds a dimension to that defense that nobody else can.
Takes a lot of pressure off the linebackers.
Yeah.
They can freelance a little more with him in
well,
there.
plus you throw him in. They picked up those other guys like Ayers and Casillas and Branch along the way. So you're throwing him on top of more depth.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have to play 80 snaps a game.
And with Chandler Jones and Jamie Collins, you may have the two best athletes in the history of the Patriots defense. I mean, pure athletes. They're just.
Willie would
Well,
get
Willie
it.
was good. Yeah,
He
no,
was a hell
Willie.
of an
Yeah, but I'm
athlete.
talking about. I mean, Willie was a much bigger guy too.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're talking about pure athletes. As far as running and then also I need to Chandler Jones and the whole Brandon Browner thing. I have to mention, Brandon Browner is a punk. He is. I can't stand him. One of those.
He's our punk, though.
I'm totally
Yeah,
at odds
yeah,
with
he's
Scott.
our
on
punk.
that.
I know you don't just.
He's our
I know.
punk. You hate him when he's on another team, and you like him when he's on yours.
2 penalties a game at least, right?
But they're always in the first quarter, so it doesn't matter.
No. But that penalty where he threw the guy and he got the unsportsmanlike contact.
He got bailed out on that.
No, but that was a punk move.
absolutely
Okay.
was.
And all right, we may be happy when we're playing Detroit and he makes those calls and we win by 30. But come the Super Bowl,
In
on the
Seattle.
fourth quarter, when he gets a call that costs us the Super Bowl, we'll see. We'll be here on Thursday Night Live the next time.
Yeah.
And we'll see if the boys are talking Brandon Browner out, because I don't think they're going to.
But you got to admit, the first 4 games of the year when he was on the suspension, the defense was very
was a different
lackluster,
team.
didn't do well. He's added. It's no coincidence. All of a sudden, the next 10 games,
There's an
they're playing
attitude with
lights
this team.
out.
Do you know that they haven't given up a second half touchdown since the
In like
Indy
6
game?
games.
Since the Indianapolis game?
yeah.
That's crazy.
No, the defense has been great.
So
but-
doesn't Browner take
No,
just a little bit of credit?
no, he's
for it?
getting burned 15 yards.
You
Wait
will
a minute,
be fired.
Okay.
Didn't Miami get totally away from their game plan? Patriots come out after the second half.
Yeah.
My boy Brady made a 17-yard run and helped them score that touchdown. Go ahead. What happened to Tannenhill's game plan? They had. I thought they had a great game plan first half, and they just totally got away.
Bad
you
coaching.
could tell they were
They're-
going to
it's
pass.
these
and they were
teams
just
not only don't have
crushed.
good quarterbacks in general in the AFC East. They just have bad coaching.
Yeah, I think you're
Philbin
right.
looks
It
like
was.
he's waiting for the flies to fly in and out of his mouth. on the sideline.
I know,
He had
you're
that
right.
Pete Carroll look.
You're right.
Remember how
I
Carroll
know.
that last year used to walk around with his mouth open on the sideline waiting for flies
Because he
to
knew
fly
the
in?
axe was right over his
Oh my God! And Philbin had that
Sword of
same look. I was like,
Damocles,
it's
huh?
like Pete Carroll, circa 2000 and
I
2000.
know. And forever he'll have one letter in front of his name, X.
Yeah.
Coach.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's
Yeah,
done,
he's
right?
done.
I mean, he's
Yeah.
finished. Now, we'll not be a Grandstanders show, and would not be a Patriots segment
here we
if
go.
we don't mention the running back controversy
go.
each week that I create in my mind. The
Yeah.
Blunt Gray plays more than Blunt this last week. So I'm going to ask the question, who again will be the starting running back
This time,
in the
I
playoffs?
agree with you. It's going to be Jonas Gray.
Jonas Gray. There you go. I have
I don't
Joe.
agree with either one of you. It's pretty clear right now that the best running back, the starting running back, the one who's going to play the most, is the one who's running the ball better in that game. I think he's already
Did I
played his
start to
cards.
see a trend? Did I see Jonas Gray in the more open field type
Yeah.
plays and Blunt down in the red zone or the real tough 3-yard
We'll
type
see.
run?
It
I
would
am
be
not
funny if we're all
convinced.
idiots and Brendan
Yeah.
Bolden
Right,
is
right,
the one.
exactly.
Or they
Or
never
Vereen.
even use
They
a
would
running
have
back.
Vereen.
They activate James White next week.
I'm a
Whenever he
fan.
gets
Yeah, right.
I'm a fan of Gray. In the third quarter, fourth quarter, the score was 31. Patriots up by 31. Getting Gray to start to run, they had a play action pass off of that to him that they threw for a touchdown. I don't know if it was to Gronk or whoever, but I mean he's got some attention that he demands
If the
from the
weather's bad,
defense.
all joking aside, if the weather's bad, you'll see them play Blunt.
Yeah.
I think that's
I
clear.
agree.
He's a great bad. You remember how Dylan was a great bad weather back,
Yeah,
and he could get
yeah.
traction and go.
Mudder.
So
Yeah.
he was a mutter.
All right, we'll see.
right.
We'll see. I still remember that Denver game, and it hurts. But so they're going to play Sunday. They're playing the Patriots. We'll be playing the Jets, our supposed rival,
Yeah.
despite the fact that they're 3-11 and we're 11-3. Could be Rex Ryan's last game as a Jet, coach against the Patriots. A layup again, right? I mean, there should be no problem.
I don't think
right?
so.
I
we
don't
beat them by
think so
2 at
either.
It
home.
was a blocked
Right.
kick
I
last
think
time.
you think division games on the road are always closer than
Yeah,
you think
I
they should
agree.
be.
I
It's going to
agree.
be
It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a
7 to
nail biter
10
right
point
to the
game.
end.
There might only be 10 people in attendance there.
Yeah.
I don't see it. No, I don't see it. I think they're going to want to crush him. I think this is.
I think they're going to want to crush them, but the Jets just have a way of hanging with us most of the time.
They did.
But
That
Jets have
first game
no
was
offense.
impressive. They almost won it.
They have
Oh, yeah.
no offense.
But what they can do is run the ball. They
Yes,
can
they
run the
can.
ball. They have a decent offensive line. And they
Yeah.
got a good stable of running backs. Ivory and Johnson, a good running back.
Sure. Closer game than we'll
I
want
agree.
it. We're
I
going to sit
agree.
here and, when we come back
it's
after
gonna be a
break,
nail biter.
and we're going to sit there and say, can you believe that Jets game was that close that long?
I hope it's more like
Well, I
the
hope not.
Thanksgiving game a couple of years
Yeah, I
ago.
know, right?
Yeah.
The butt
Blowout.
fumble and all
Yeah.
that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I would be remiss to mention there was an article that came out this week in Sports Illustrated, a exclusive on Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Talking about Tom Brady's training regimen and what he does and how he has his regimen schedule set for the next 3 years, and that he's decided delusionally that he's going to play till he's 48, and he eats avocado ice cream,
Yeah.
which is probably the
With
grossest thing I could only think about. What's up with Tom Brady now? I mean, to me, sometimes when I watch him by halftime, I want him to be replaced. I mean, is he delusional in the fact that he has?
I think the only thing that matters in all that is that he thinks it helps him. If he thinks that it helps him and he wants to do all that stuff and it helps him maintain an edge, God bless him. It's better than having him going around, running around, carousing all night long.
Well, if you have Giselle, you're not
all
going
he
to be.
needs to do
Right,
is
why
think
go to
that
McDonald's
it helps him.
when you
It's the
got
mental
more
game.
steak at
When he's,
home?
when he's on mechanically, he looks like Randy Johnson out there. He is just firing.
But what are our expectations really? How much longer is the Tom Brady era going
3
to
years.
be here? 3 years.
3 years,
Right.
that's it.
40 years.
3
so,
years.
which would be pretty remarkable. That even if
Because
By the
Peyton,
way-
I believe, is kind of losing it.
But wait a minute, though.
Yes.
Did you notice, like around the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter, Tom Brady was over on the sidelines and he had his helmet. His hair still looked great.
Oh, he's
I don't think he
fabulous.
sweated
Yeah,
or anything.
no, he's got
Even
it
after
all
that
working.
17-yard,
He got all that hair replacement stuff
got a
done a few
stylist
years
hidden
ago.
away
It's-
back
Yeah.
Looks
there.
good. Looks good. I mean, he pulls the helmet off like.
On the
Yeah.
sidelines, F-bombing, you know, for
F-bombing.
and apparently, I love this. The
It hurt the
FC
Boston
People
Globe.
complain to the FCC.
Three people complained to the FCC, and this became a story this week. And I think the
The
most
Globe wrote an editorial on it.
Yeah.
yeah, the most remarkable part of that story is
Right.
that somehow 3 people were able to get a hold of the federal government to do anything.
True
right?
that, right.
That should be the real story.
Yeah.
But that's just another non-story. But it shows you Tom Brady right now is hot. You know, he's obviously they got the top team in the NFL. And this is really Tom Brady's, year,
It's
right?
going to be all about Tom.
I mean,
could you imagine if it happens that the Patriots and Denver, plus Seattle and Green Bay are the final 4 teams, and it's gonna
The NFL would love
it's gonna explode.
The
right?
first time that that would be if the Patriots, Denver, Seattle, and Green Bay are in the championship game. That would be the first time that each quarterback had won a Super Bowl.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
You know,
Let-
so
That's gonna be very interesting.
with Wilson,
That'd be a hell of a
yeah,
thing
with
for the
Wilson,
NFL, wouldn't it?
Rodgers, Manning, and Brady. So you've got.
Right.
I mean, that's what they want, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
that's
going to make all. Remember, we'll very quickly forget all the NFL troubles this year if those 4 quarterbacks make it into those championship games because it's.
And the NFL has made billions on Brady Manning alone.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Yeah,
It's a
and
good
they're going to
call.
play again next year. They're going to play in Denver, but the schedule sets itself
they're
out
first
because they're
place
both in
teams.
first place. They're going to play again. I mean, so
Yeah.
it never ends, right? So we have a few minutes left, and we have to mention the Boston Red
The
Sox
old-time
because
team.
yeah, absolutely. First of all, I want to just go with the starting lineup right now as we sit here on Thursday Night Live, December 18th. What is the starting lineup of the Boston Red Sox?
Alan, take a crack at
All
it.
right, here we go, babe. We got Mr. Castillo leading off.
Okay,
from
and he
center
plays. And where
field.
does he play? Center field.
He's
all
center
right?
field,
Okay.
all right? Then we have always got to be Petey batting second, right?
All right, Dustin
He's
Pedroia batting second base.
Do you put Ortiz in at third? Why wait for the? So let's put Ortiz in there at third.
Well, yeah, I guess he will be a
Batting third.
batting third, right? Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
so got
Napoli
him
bats
DH.
fourth.
Got
Right.
Napoli at fourth.
Right.
No. I think
You know,
Hanley
Moves
Ramirez.
down.
I don't
Yeah.
know. What-
Okay. All right. Well,
I don't know.
okay, we'll put Napoli in fourth.
put
All right.
Ramirez in there.
I might
And
go Ramirez third.
Can put Ramirez third.
Okay.
sure.
And then, all right, so then you
Maybe,
have
maybe.
Napoli fourth, you have Ramirez fifth, and then I guess you have
Panda.
the fatty.
right,
Yeah,
right. You've got Panda.
So,
And I hate to say it, as much as I'd love to see Mookie Betts playing every day, I think Victorino's gonna be a man. I think
Bogart's
he's
down towards the end of the lineup.
Yeah,
with the
absolutely.
catcher.
Bogart.
his free year last year.
Bogarts.
He'll be happy with that.
So you have a
He'll
lineup-
actually
And
play
then
for a
you
living
got,
this year.
Vasquez. Is that my 9
But
guys
didn't
right
Farrell
there?
say he's looking at Betts as a leadoff hitter?
yeah, he
That's
thinks,
it.
yeah.
See, I think they're gonna.
And
They'd love to have
for
Betts be the
bonus, how
leadoff
about
hitter.
the
Yeah.
starting the 5?
Oh, that's easy.
But I think Victorino, like you said, he's either your fourth outfielder or
Yeah.
he's gone. And either Brock Holt or Victorino will be your outfielder, fourth outfielder.
Brock Holt.
Mookie Betts.
He's trade bait.
Mookie Betts is going to be
They're
your
going to start
leadoff hitter.
trading some
that's
of them.
right.
though.
Yeah, right.
Alan Craig.
Craig is. I hear they're getting interest for Craig. I don't know
Oh my
why.
God! Can you
Oh,
believe it?
how
What are
fast
people
can we get
smoking?
rid of
And
him?
anyone that has I heard that too. Multiple teams have interest in Alan Craig.
Yeah, but he's
He
going to
did
cost
have
them
some
nothing.
good years in the National League. They might be interested.
The Red Sox will eat most of that contract. Why not take the shot at him? I mean, the guy was a great hitter for a few years. If the Red Sox eat most of the contract, you only have to pay $3 million for Craig. It's a great flyer to take.
And Russ has the car all warmed up, right, to drive him wherever he needs to go. Yeah, I mean that would be pretty good if we could get rid of Alan Craig and get something back, a middle
pitcher.
relief pitcher, right? I mean that's really what our need right now is. If a relief pitcher, that's what you've got to figure in the offseason they're going to continue to go for, right?
With the staff that they have right now, pitching staff. What's your rotation here?
You go, Al.
Well, I got Porcello, Kelly, Miley. Buck Holtz is always my fifth. Who's my fourth guy?
I don't know. We'll think about that. We have to go.
Kelly?
We'll have to think
Oh,
about this.
okay.
And go.
Oh, Masterson, right.
So that went quick, boys.
Yeah.
That was great.
Again.
Want to thank again the my panelists, of course, and the crew behind the scenes here on Thursday Night Live, the Grandstanders. Want to wish everybody a happy holidays. We'll be back in 3 weeks for a new episode of the Grandstanders. I want to wish you all a good night.